And that is why it's important. Do not partake in their feast, because when you do, you lose your credibility. In a society that is interested in free and fair elections, it is the like of Mike Guinea that is promoted to the highest office for the electoral umpire. But of course, when you have built a society such as ours, and I don't want to jump ahead of myself, I don't want to, I won't join issues with you on Arise TV, but here is the thing. We've entered a season where it is critical that when men like Mike Guinea speaks, we're careful to strip his speech of partisanship and understand that he was speaking as a patriot. The unfortunate thing is that there is no nation about which one may be patriotic. We would all have to birth one. But I don't want to get ahead of myself, remember. But I recommend to you that you find the grace to go and listen. You find the videos, listen to what Mike had to say about the system that has been built, the electoral system, and the purpose to which men have perverted it. The Nigerian judiciary. Yorubas will say that when the fish will rot, it starts from the head. In the case of Nigeria, if there is indeed a head, proverbially, so to speak, it will be the judiciary, because it is not the hope of any man except the human beasts who rule the country. The judiciary more or less does as it is told. So Mike is completely correct. We have more than enough laws, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. I just want to draw your attention to the importance of the historical indictments that Mike delivered in the series of interviews he did. Go and find them, watch them. But the big elephant in the room for me, and again, it is tied to the subject that I'll be discussing this morning, because like I told you already, everything they do at any point in time, are all interrelated because it flows from the same well of impunity. So when you find that something happened in one place that distracts you, you talk about it, but you don't connect them to the central thread, you lose the lessons that are available to be learned. So I have spoken only about Mike's interview in the context of you needing to go teach yourself, but there was one yesterday now. The elections, did I say elections? The elections. Election, that would be a travesty. The travesty that happened in Abuja yesterday, they call that election. If you ever wanted a window into 2027, if you were so silly as to forget the lessons of 2023, you had that lesson and that window open for you. A portal was opened into the future in Abuja yesterday. If you ever wanted a portal telling you what to expect, that was it yesterday. That was it. Everything that should not be called an election happened yesterday. Things that have no business in a democracy were seen yesterday. And you know the biggest part of this fraud? The judiciary. We find nothing. Absolutely nothing. Oh, let me now make it even more interesting for you. Donald Trump and the US Embassy is right there in Abuja. You see all the reports. If you are waiting for Donald Trump to make Tinubu give you free and fair elections in 2027, you don't miss out. Get that into your head pretty quickly.
If you live in a California zip code and have 0 DUIs in the last 5 years, listen.
The world is a global village. The old world see us. They see everything. They know everything. They listen. You think it's only El-Rufai that is listening to Ribadu's conversations. If El-Rufai can get Ribadu's conversation, you can imagine who else is listening to everybody's conversation. So if you imagine for 1 second that the US is unaware of the fact that Nigeria is not a democracy and they tolerate this because it is in their strategic interest to ignore what sits right on top of their nose, continue to fool yourselves. The point you need to pay attention to is that it is you who is going to save you, if anybody is going to save you. What they showed you yesterday is a preview to 2027. Do you understand? Now, like I said, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. But the one thing I don't do is reactions. I know there have been persistent questions asked about the ICE platform, but let me explain. With every passing day, it's becoming more and more obvious to me that we're not dealing with a system that can be engaged in a manner that it can self-regulate itself on self-reform. I've also found that anything done without a focus on a way to end this system, anything done is token in nature. So I have devoted myself to working with others, and we're currently working to build a platform, a robust platform for engagement, because what has happened is that our entire society has been destroyed. It's become dysfunctional. It is also critical that we understand, and I'm doing this before we start, but it is related to my subject this morning. We must understand that the old walls are falling down. We actually do not have a rule-based country any longer. We have full-blown tyranny, but because of mass media and the global the fact that our world has become smaller, what has happened is that our government is obliged to pretend that we're a democracy in order for Western sensibilities to be assuaged, at least the public opinion. And given the fact that we have a pretty substantial diaspora that would rather be living at home if Nigeria were to be a country that was working for its people, this has made it difficult for the world to turn its back on us and pretend that everything is hunky-dory in Nigeria. So because of this, we are still able to do what I am doing. A lot of people have done less and been killed, but I am blessed to have the visibility that you have blessed me with by listening to me even when you didn't think I was completely safe. So where we are today is a situation where you have to look at the mirror if you're looking for who's going to save Nigeria, but the one thing you cannot do is look to the existing system to either self-correct itself or to redeem itself or produce anything good. So this morning, let's take it that was the week that was. He offered me the opportunity to test my mic. He also afforded me the opportunity to get comfortable in front of a live camera again. So not a minute to the time, but let's be clear. The ICE platform has become too small and too restrictive for what must be done. We're building something more robust and working with other persons. It may take us a little time, but I am not doing a reaction. The intention is to rebuild the entire world because the walls are falling. We need to build a nation or a country if we do want one. Is either that or it's going to blow up in everybody's face. So
I used to say, if I hear AI one more time, I'm going to lose it. But Monday.com is super easy.
I got a few seconds before 10 o'clock. We're going to use it and wait for our brethren who are not with us yet to join us. We would also create a way to enable volunteers to join us. So good morning, everybody. It's 10 o'clock now, and it's good to be back with you live. I've missed doing it's much easier, probably even more convenient to record and then push it out, because it means that once I'm in the mood, I can do what I need to do. But if I'm doing it to schedule, it makes it that. But I enjoy it this way. Let me just put it out. And this morning, it is critical that we move beyond lamentations and begin to deal with issues. One of the points I had jotted down with intention as using that I will use that as my closing is going to become probably the opening now, because it is critical that we understand the purpose so that we do not abuse. Ideas rule the world. I've spoken to this multiple times. Ideas rule the world. But it is the ideas that you on that have the capacity to affect anything. The Nigeria we're living in, this one that has enslaved all of us, was an idea. A very, very bad idea. Because it wasn't altruistic. There was absolutely nothing altruistic about the idea of Nigeria. I don't want to spend much time making detours, but I will deal with what is pertinent to what I need to discuss with you this morning. I did make a post, I believe it was yesterday, begging you to go to my website, elifarotini.com, download the book, The Imperatives of the Nigerian Revolution. Download it free. The website is not commercialized. I don't know adverts there. I get nothing with your traffic. I'm trying to give you knowledge. Please go, download it, because it makes the work I'm doing here that much easier to do. But I'm going to spend time giving you background so that you would have context for what must be done. Nigeria was an idea, a very bad idea, compounding the evil that had been done before its formation. I'm not the one that will teach you about the slave trade. And it didn't begin with the British. It was already part and parcel of the culture in northern Nigeria. They were already exporting slaves to the Arabian Peninsula and the Gulf, the Sudan, through the trans-Saharan trade. And then the British came, and the Portuguese and the Europeans And they came with the transatlantic slave trade, industrialized, not much different from what the Arabs did. And they traded us for centuries. We were stuck, pretty much like cattle or poultry. When they carried us to the New World, they even had breeding farms. For us, we were cattle. And then when they were done, because the economic conditions demanded that they didn't require slave labor any longer, industrial age came, and they moved away. The same Christianity that was used to explain your enslavement, the same Islam that was used to explain your enslavement, they moved it around, and it became the colonial era. So the British cobbled together disparate persons, over 300 ethnic nations, and say, oh, presto, they got Nigeria. It wasn't for the benefit of those called Nigerians. It was for the convenience of the British, who came up with the idea of Nigeria. Ideas rule the world. So they created a people, lumped them together, disparate persons, former slavers and the enslaved, former slave stock and the enslavers.
On August 22nd, I told viewers that the road to artificial general intelligence was already bringing
Lumped everybody together. Christians who were converted, Muslims who were Muslims long before the British came to these shores. Lumped them together in administrative forms that was convenient for the persons with the idea, the British. Indirect rule it was called. I will not spend too much time telling you the story of the colonial era. Suffice to say that in the 1940s, the Second World War broke out. The Nigerians, other colonial subjects, were recruited into the West African Frontier Force, to another colonial forces, and they went and fought the white man's war, particularly in Burma, today's Burma, Malaysia. They fought the white man's war. They bled, they died, they saw white men bled, died. Frontiers of understanding opened up, and the independence struggles started in the seed of all of that. Remember, natives were also taken to England and other colonial parts. They read the same books the white man was reading. Knowledge became more liberalized. The acceptance of colonialism became frayed. The pre-colonial and the post-colonial struggle, the independence struggle started. Eventually, what started out as disparate peoples, cobbled together, found reasons. They found all kinds of reasons to agree. Coercion in some cases. They found reasons to cobble together a compromise. Remember, before Nigeria was, there was a plebiscite. Northern Cameroon left. They didn't want any part of Nigeria. Almost any other part would have done pretty much the same thing, at least already cobbled together for administrative convenience. I'm sure the Eastern region would have elected not to be part of Nigeria. I'm very certain Ahmadu Bello could have demanded not to be part of Nigeria. Whether the minorities in northern Nigeria would have accepted to be part of what would have been to them another colonial state, another argument entirely. But let's just agree that a compromise was found. For some reason, they moved from persons like Awolowo saying very clearly that there is no nation called Nigeria. He was the one who first defined the fact that Nigeria cannot be spoken of in the terms of the Celts or the English. But Nigeria is just a geographical expression. Those were the founding fathers of Nigeria, and they spoke the truth. Nigeria was a geographical expression. That is all it was, and to a very large extent, that is what it remains, unfortunately. That was the Nigeria that Ahmadu Bello described as the estate of his grandfather. That was the Nigeria, the compromise that was reached. They reached a compromise. Even when some people would argue it was Daddy Onyema, some people would argue that Azikiwe himself repeated pretty much the same word at the World Conference, where he said it was the manifest destiny of the Igbo man to preside over the affairs of Nigeria and that of the black man. Whatever it be, whoever was telling the truth or not telling the truth, the reality is that even at the birth of the country named Nigeria, there were sufficient reasons to have avoided its formation or its birth. The persons who purport to speak for the different parts were seriously unhappy about the idea of a country called Nigeria. But they went back and forth between 1951 up until the point of independence. They had multiple agreements, disagreements. At the end of the day, they came up with a compromise. That compromise began to operate from around 1954, and it was a federal state. The Eastern region ran its own government, had its own embassies. The Western region had its own as well. Why the Western and Eastern region were interested in having embassies in the UK?
We're Phoenix Energy, a family-owned oil company focused on unleashing American oil from Minnesota and Montana.
The Northern region was more interested in its embassies in Khartoum and Riyadh because they were required by its pilgrims heading to Hajj. Each developed along the line of its priorities. And because of this, there was all kind of healthy competition. I'm giving you this background so that you would have context for what we must discuss. This is not the most important. If you're white, pick up the book, like I said, go read. The important thing is that all forms of compromises were reached. And at the end of the day, they said, okay, let's have a parliamentary system, pretty much copying what the British who had colonized us are using and have used for centuries. In addition to that, we have a federal system. So everybody was developing alongside. And then by the time of independence, 1962, based on the agitations that had happened pre-independence, leading to the formation of the Willings Commission on the right of the minorities, because they expressed concern about their survival in a country that they already could see was not even willing to recognize the existence of minorities. It took Awolowo dragging both the eastern and northern minorities to the Lancaster House Conference for them to recognize the need. But the important thing is that in 1962, by a process set up in the Constitution that was agreed pre-independence and at independence, a fourth region was created. It came out of the Western region. It was created based on the constitutional requirements that had been set out ahead of time. It was a rule-based society. There was a plebiscite held in the territory that was to become the Midwestern region. There was a motion taken in the Western House of Assembly, the Regional House of Assembly. It passed by a two-third majority. The same thing was taken before the Federal House of Representatives. It passed by a two-third majority, and then it was gazetted and the Midwestern region was formed. That compromise collapsed in 1966. You already know the story of the coup of January 1966. A group of young men. A lot of idiots will labor to tell you it was an Igbo coup. Nothing could be farther from the truth. It was a bunch of young men who saw a nation drifting, who acted in a manner that unfortunately provided the excuse for what happened in July. I'm not going to rehash history. Those who have decided to tell edited versions of it can continue telling their edited versions, but it is critical that we agree on the facts so that we may find it a whole lot easier to get into the future that we need to be moving into. Now, if you have a situation where the compromise state has collapsed, what you then begin to have is that a new state began to emerge. That new state was founded on an idea, and it is the idea that a class must be set up higher than the rest. That class is not obliged to obey the laws. The laws do not apply to that class. It started out slowly with the restructuring of Nigeria under the watch of its former colonial masters in the new world order, Bretton Woods Institute and all of them, to reshape the Nigeria that you have today. Its political structures under the watch of the British and increasingly under the watch of the Americans. If you look all around you and you daily groan about your lot in Nigeria, and the world continues to speak of Nigeria as though things are normal with what our government is doing to us, surely you must begin to understand that it is because the government that is not working for you, that victimizes you, the system, because when government runs systems. If the system is not working for the persons in government, they will tweak it to make it work in the manner that they prefer. You have the evidence of that already with your electoral reform bill. So you have a situation where the world is comfortable with everything that is happening in Nigeria. The world is aware of everything that your rulers are doing. The Americans are aware, the British are aware, they're the holders of the stolen funds. But they are happy with what they are saying. They have no problem whatsoever with what they are saying.
Walking makes you old. Tai Chi makes you young. Make it a habit. 9 minutes a day.
This system, regardless of who has been the president of Nigeria, who has been the governors of your state, has superintended the collapse of the Nigerian state. The educational system does not work. You have over 30 million children. But when you say it does not work, question is, who is it not working for? It's working for a system that prefers that you are stupid. It's working for a system that has deliberately weaponized ignorance against you. An ignorant man is doomed to poverty. The system is working for a people who are superintending the expansion of multidimensional poverty in Nigeria. The system is working for those who are profiting off the insecurity. America had wanted boots on ground in Nigeria for decades. Throughout the existence of this country called Nigeria, from its inception, the British and the Americans have wanted boots on ground in our country. Patriots, those who understand the true meaning and the intent, have always fought against it. The Anglo-Nigerian Defense Pact didn't just die because the government said no. It died because some people recognized the loss of sovereignty that would come with it. But successive governments have brought us to a point where Nigerians are justifiably celebrating the loss of sovereignty But it is because the sovereignty was never there. The Nigeria that was battered after the compromise was killed is one that is working exactly as it is designed based on the idea of its creation. Let me show you something. In every society that is labeled progressive, in every society that is labeled developing, one of the hallmarks is the sovereignty, not just of the country, but of the persons, the citizens. It is the sovereignty of the people that strengthens the sovereignty of the nation or the state. When the sovereignty of the people have been taken from them by rulers who are disconnected from the people, the sovereignty of the country itself is undermined. Nigeria today is no longer a sovereign state. The ruiners of Nigeria, for whom the system is working, the people who are benefiting from the system, have taken away the capacity of the Nigerian to effect a peaceful change of governance. At least you cannot change the governance, the ruling class in Nigeria through the electoral process any longer. The right to choose has been removed. If you had any doubt whatsoever, you were shown a mirror, a window rather. The window was opened into the future. You saw 2027 on the street of Abuja yesterday, assuming you ignored the lessons that were shown in the Edo election. If your eyes were blind to the Ondo election, if you didn't see what is going on in Osun State, the impunity that is governing the whole of Osun State right now, the federal overreach, the judicial tyranny and rascality that has been unleashed on Osun State. I'm not a fan of their dancing clown, but the reality is that that is the person the people chose. And today, the same thing Tinubu was complaining about in relation to Obasanjo, the same thing that he turned himself into the hero of the opposition pre-2003 and after, where he became the rallying point for those who thought he was fighting for democracy. The same thing is exactly what he's doing in Osun State today. All the voices that rose in condemnation of Obasanjo, none are able to speak again. For some reason or the other, men are no longer speaking. That is the future. So you've seen very clearly that there is no way you are going to be able to effect any change through the ballot. Any illusion you might have had should be clear. The only way to fight an idea is with another idea.
Right now, as you watch this, your brain is being hijacked. You think you're...
It is always with another idea. In 1993, the people expressed their sovereign will in a manner contrary to the desires of the ruling class. And the ruling class annulled the election. The Ooni of the time went into Aso Rock and came out saying reason. That was the foremost Yoruba Oba. He went into Aso Rock and he saw reason. And so did a whole lot of other persons. He took the common man on the street, standing defiantly behind his sovereign will, to galvanize what became known as the June 12 struggle. Now it has today been diminished. It stands to the effort of all those who worked against the sovereign will of the people. The lessons and essence of the June 12 struggle was about the sovereign will, the supremacy of the sovereign will of those who are called citizens. We fought the military. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Today's generation like talking about us as a bunch of cowards. We were no cowards. When you hear of Nadeko this, Nadeko that, yes, the old men talked, but it took young men to act. Young men drove trailers, dumping sand on third mainland, enforcing sit at home. Young men bled. Yes, old men went into exile, but young men bled. A lot died. Epoma, Ikorodu Road, multiple places across the length and breadth of Nigeria. For years, we fought the military. And then they tricked us. Instead of continuing to insist on the sanctity of our sovereign will, our vote, we allowed the lies of 1999. Obasanjo was sold as a compromise. Oh, Yorubas were agitating. Let's do rotational presidency. We'll zone it to the Yorubas. How do you zone the sovereign power of a collective to a section? So Obasanjo came. We were shortchanged. Everybody believes that, okay, at least now we fought, our sovereign will count. I'll fast forward to 2012 because we had a series of fraudulent elections. And then the people finally believed that they expressed their sovereign will in 2012, or 2011. And we elected the one that had no shoe. And then came the fraud of 2015, preceded by years of the subjectification of truth by a society that began to subjectify truth. It battered the lies of the fuel subsidy riot, the scam of the fuel subsidy protest. Those who should be thought leaders in society, they stood up, traded their consciences. They knew the truth. But they refused on account of political expediency. They danced, they lied, they walked, save Nigeria, they said. They saved Nigeria so much that they handed Nigeria to the destroyer of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, 2015. We had fraudulent change, and they led us to 2023. And 2023, I remember saying to all of you very clearly that Peter Obi represented the last opportunity for peaceful transition to normalcy in Nigeria. What did I mean? I wasn't suggesting that Peter Obi was a saint. I'm not. But I was hoping that the supremacy of the people's will will be established by a peaceful transfer of power that is reflexive of the people's will. But the same thing that happened in 1993 happened in 2023. 30 years later, we came back full cycle. The will of the people was again thwarted. But you know what happened? All of you found reasons, different reasons, why we couldn't fight as one after we had expressed our sovereign will. Partisanship, ethnicity, religion. The religiosity of candidates mattered to the point where it became a thing to have a Muslim ticket. It became a thing to have a Muslim ticket in a country as divided as our own at the time.
I tried a ton of AI work tools. Then I tried Monday.com. Game over.
Muslim ticket produced the disaster we have in office today. And then it got to the point where it requires lectures from Trump and the Americans to tell their agents in Nigeria that you can't have Muslim again. And now, the same America is quiet, watching as our sovereign right to elect our rulers have been taken away from us. And they are waiting for 2027. Let me explain something to all you all. We have to stop pretending that we don't see what we see. What is happening before you is a new world order taking shape. In that new world order, we are meant to remain the destination for extraction of raw material. They've already achieved that to a very large extent. You have over 140 million people with no skills. Accumulation from years of weaponized ignorance. Illiterates are teaching your children. Bello Galadanchi, very popular skit maker in Nigeria, is a teacher in China. I believe he holds a doctorate degree. But the doctorate degree that he holds is teaching kindergarten. Imagine that, a doctorate degree holder, I believe, is teaching children in kindergarten. Now, can your brain wrap itself around the fact that the Chinese child, who is not up to 10 years old, is receiving educational instructions from a person who has been trained up to the doctorate degree level? You really have this level of qualification in some of our universities. This is the person teaching in kindergarten. That is the world in which our children have to compete. That's the world they have to compete in. But in our own country, we do not have the capacity to say anything about who rules us. Regardless of how badly they have destroyed the country, we have no say in their emergence or retention. It is even more dangerous when you consider the fact that the justice system sanctions that, protects it, promotes it, because it is equally complicit. Judicial offices have become hereditary. That is the system that we have built. The world is comfortable with what is happening to us. We're about to be railroaded into some new currency, probably administered from France, because it is now the French that appears to be in control of our tax system, whilst our security is in the hand of Americans. What exactly is the government of Nigeria still doing for the Nigerian? Here is where our situation becomes alarming. Everything that I have described as dysfunctional are actually functional. It is working exactly the way the system is designed to work. I can keep making these videos from now to kingdom come. The system has no problem with that. Those who took steps, let's see how the system has dealt with them. Without carrying gun, by merely protesting against this system, unknown number of Nigerians were killed at Lekki toll gate, and the Nigerian state denied them. Even though, I repeat it, Sanwo-Olu paid 100 million in cash in compensation to the injured and the families of the dead. But the Nigerian state continues to deny it.
After spending 50 years on Wall Street, I just handpicked the company I believe could go down as well.
But I'm saying to you, speaking Dogon Turenchi here, will not change anything. So let's talk about those who protested and who are known, the Showores of this world, the Peter Aka of this world. What has the state done to them? Tear gassed them, sent some to prison, slammed Showore in detention. What did he ever do other than to protest? What? What is it that these persons ever did other than to protest? They never bore harm against Nigeria. Persons bearing harm against Nigeria, Dan Keremi killed an ACP, wore his uniform to what they call the peace meeting, where they had instructed the government officials to ensure that they did not bring any policeman in uniform. Dan Keremi wore the uniform of the Assistant Commissioner of Police. Dan Keremi is walking free. There are multiple bandits, they call them terrorists, who have borne harms against the Nigerian state. They're walking free. The Nigerian state is paying them. The Nigerian state is denying the criminality of criminals who are busy coming on live TikTok to show that, look, your government is lying about us not having hostages. Look at our hostages. That is where we are. And this is where the government wants us to be. Bayo Ononuga told all of us clearly, he was on national TV, they fought terrorists to tell them to release those who have been captured by terrorists. We were all there together. We saw it when some people were caught and they said they were Fulani terrorists caught. They claimed they were vigilantes armed by the Office of the National Security Advisor. This is what we are seeing everywhere we turn. The collapse of the day, of the Nigerian state collapsing. And all we do is we lament. He didn't have the kind of do. He moved beyond talking. That was all he ever did. Nobody has him anywhere leading the kidnap of citizens. No one has him anywhere demanding ransom, killing people, raping. These are things Fulani terrorists are doing on a daily basis, and the Nigerian state is completely blind to them. I'm not suggesting that if Kanu had done something for which, because the only thing is like incitement to terrorism. What about the persons who are committing actual acts of terrorism and the state is completely blind to them? So what we are having today is a situation where we have built a state that is not working for the victims. It is working only for its beneficiaries, the ruling class and the foreign powers. It's not working for the Nigerian. Sunday Igboho, what did he say or do that justified the years of exile, the invasion of his home and the killing that took place in his home? Why is it that it is those who demand that Nigeria should be better to treat its people the same that are labeled terrorists and routinely killed and hounded into exile? But terrorists are mollycoddled, paid salaries. Government is going to court to enter nolle prosequi on behalf of terrorists. The reality is this. We've come to a point in Nigeria where we have to admit to ourselves the road to peaceful change is being blocked on a daily basis. The Nigerian state is making it impossible to have a peaceful change or to have a peaceful revolution in Nigeria. But the character of the revolution is entirely in the hand of the revolutionaries. And this is one of the things I need us to speak to before we close. I titled my lecture, Birthing the Unborn Nation. What do I mean? If you have been calling myself a patriot of the unborn nation for quite some time.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, and
And that is because there is no Nigerian nation in the sense of nations. There's a Nigerian state. The Nigerian state is very strong. Forget the madness it allows within its territory. Those you call terrorists are partners with the Nigerian state. Their job is sanctioned by the Nigerian state. Let me just put it that way. To a large extent, they were even recruited by the Nigerian state. You have more than enough evidence of the complicity of the Nigerian state at multiple levels in what you call terrorism today. So they are not going to come and chase away any one of those because those people work for them. So let us be clear about one thing. The Nigerian state as it is very strong. It is probably at the strongest it has ever been. It is the Nigerian victims that have been reduced in their capacity to respond to the Nigerian state, which has become so powerful that it has taken away every right that once inured in the Nigerian. The Nigerian state has become so powerful that it has taken away any right or any power that any one of us might possibly have to effect a change of government in the prescribed fashion. The Nigerian state is so powerful that it has captured the judiciary, and the judiciary no longer offers any hope to the common man. When you look at the objective reality of the Nigerian state, what you find very quickly is that the victims of Nigeria have only two things lined up in front of them. We are either going to find the grace to allow another idea to birth a new Nigeria where ethnicity and religion is minimized and citizenship is established. If the idea of feudalism, if the idea of neocolonialism has battered the Nigeria in which we are, where all of us are complaining and lamenting. The idea of a Nigeria that works for all of us, however difficult it might appear in attainment, the idea of a Nigeria that works for all of us, that is the only idea that can liberate us. Without us working together to be free of this system, it is in our division that will continue to strengthen the bond of slavery. Let me be very clear. Ideas rule the world. If I'm saying that we should build a system based on the idea of citizenship, it's not just because I wish it, and it wouldn't come simply because I have articulated it. It will only happen when all of us, in recognition of what needs to be done, all of us, or at least the critical mass of us, recognizing what needs to be done, we must work together based on common ideas, and then organize ourselves. And the organization to which I speak, we must organize on university campuses. We must organize on every campus of higher learning in this country. We must organize in churches. We must organize in markets. We must organize in mosques. We must organize in town unions. We must organize ourselves, even within the cells that have been infiltrated by the system. I know as a fact that today in Lagos State, and if not the whole of Nigeria, a system is being steadily built where you need to belong to the APC before you may access any level of attention from government. We are not one. I'm not suggesting that we are one, but we must become one if we are going to ever be free. In our divisions, our capacity to fight our enslavers is diminished. We need to deliberately and consciously build around the idea of a Nigeria that works for all of us, where we, all of us, become one as citizens. Let me be clear about something. An idea has ruled Nigeria for all these years. I don't expect that idea to walk away, or those of you who have become acculturated to the idea to easily give up what is easy. We cannot be a people born defeated who do not have the capacity to think our way out of our problems. We're human. And Nigerians are some of the most intelligent human beings I have come across. We can bemoan our situation. We can lament.
You get hurt in a car accident and they give you a check that wouldn't cover my shoe shine? That's disrespect. With Case Connect, you don't.
But a generation must arise that finds common purpose. The duty for those of us who believe there is a better pathway is to articulate the better pathway, set down the common interest and purpose, and work even as evangelists, zealots, to recruit those who do not believe. Let me be very clear. I do not presume to have a monopoly of wisdom. I say a lot of nonsense. Haven't you noticed? But the reality is this. We cannot continue doing the same thing over and over, be expecting. We've come to the point where we must understand that there are two paths in front of us. Is either going to be an implosion or a revolution. The human spirit reflexively rejects injustice. Nigeria as it is being constructed on a bed and foundation of injustices. It cannot endure. It will at some point implode. The system prefers those implosions because it allows it to normalize the evil that it has done. It may very well be that it is not you who is hearing me today that my words are meant for, but a generation must arise understanding very clearly that aside from the accident of birth and location and geography of existence, we are all just one. Nobody sees us as different outside of us. You think Donald Trump gives two monkeys about the Christians? If he does, what has he done? Went after Lakurawa, yeah? But have you seen their Nigerian partner doing anything about the killings going on in Oyo State, in Kwara State, in Ondo State? We cannot continue the way we are. We have to birth a new country. A country that works for all of us, that works for our children. What do you think will happen in another generation? Wike is bringing his children into politics. Omoye is bringing his children into politics. They call it politics, but it's business. Their fathers are slave traders. You are the victims they are trading. The Americans are still buying. The British are still buying. The world is still buying. It's an open-air prison camp. Every day we send our values abroad. We create nothing of value. But you sit here, you're quibbling about the language your fellow victim is speaking. You're quibbling about how he worships or does not worship God. That is your business. We need a common purpose. Without finding common purpose to unite behind, we will never be free from the system that is being built. It's a world order. Single currency, all the monies. Where else have you found? Like a country's currency became so scarce that you are buying your own currency. Nigeria has become an open-air prison camp. that we still have social media and we're lamenting or picked makes us sometimes forget the reality of our existence. It's obscene, and we have to birth a new nation because we don't have one. We do not have one. This is what you all need to wrap your brains around. I'll be speaking more extensively to the birthing of a new nation in the coming weeks. I will be, because the reality you've got to wrap your mind around. If you're still looking to vote in 2027, be prepared to fight for the sanctity of your vote, because this system has no respect for it. You cannot change this system working with it. You're either going to have an implosion or we'll have a revolution. I hope that we'll find the grace and the courage to have a revolution. The peacefulness or otherwise of the revolution is not in the hand of the revolutionary. This was a point I promised to address during the last week. The character of the revolution, the peacefulness of it, is not in the hand of the revolutionary. I will never ask you to bear arms. Never. But let me be very clear so that we're all clear. In birthing a new nation, the whole nation has to die because it is built on iniquity. There will be confrontations along the line. It may happen only after the death of some of us. Maybe not necessarily because we died violently. It might just be that it will take. But I'm not afraid of the long slog, as long as the destination is clear to all. We must rebuild the student unions. We must rebuild the trade unions.
If you live in a California zip code and have 0 DUI in the last 5 years, listen.
And we must be willing to confront. That may very well be demonstrations. It may be with calls for strikes. It may be with calls for stay at home. But you all have to join in this. I don't expect it to happen overnight. We will build, but we will build together, because nobody else is coming to save us. If we are going to be able to build that new nation, it will be because you decided to rise. I'm not Voltron. I'm not going to do anything other than to tell you and to offer leadership. There is nothing, no guns to bear. No guns. The Nigerians, they would love us to preach violence because then it legitimizes its own use of violence. I do not hold those who have contrary opinions, but these are my own preachments. I am convinced that if we do not find the grace to build a united front found on ideas, we will not break out of this slave camp. An implosion will happen. The system will restore order. Wars have been fought and are still being fought to keep Nigeria one, to separate it. The reality is that with all the wars that have been fought, Nigeria is still one, stronger than ever, more in equal terms than ever, and the victims are still being victimized. Why don't we try uniting for a change behind the common purpose? If we fail to birth the Nigerian nation, the Nigerian state will eventually either die, implode, and then at what cost? At what cost? Even if you desire a separate country from Nigeria, you must surely be able to see that it is easier to achieve that after you have already won Nigeria back from those who are holding on to it. And you can't win that Nigeria back if you don't unite with yourselves. I'm done for this week, but it's only the beginning of a new conversation. I'm no longer interested in lamenting about this country. I'm interested in building towards change. And that change does not happen with a change of government. It happens with a change of this system. But it begins with us educating our minds. An uneducated mob is just a mob. It can only achieve anarchy. But an educated mob becomes an army. That's what I'm looking to turn you into. Because if we ever become educated up to the point where we agree on common purposes, we wouldn't even need to come onto the street. They will run. They will run. If you have ideas that you believe will be of use to us, if you have skills that you believe will be of use, please, your contact in the comment section. We will reach out to you, as we will be reaching out to a lot of other persons. I don't believe for 1 second that any Voltron will save us. It would have to be the collective. And that's what I'm trying to do. Join us. If you have any contribution to make, drop it in our comment section. We will harvest information from there. And if you're my friend on either Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, drop your comment. If there's any way you believe you can contribute, we have persons who are looking through the comments and they will address the detail and reach out to persons in due course. This is not going to be a sprint. It is most likely going to be a marathon. But that something is going to be difficult does not mean it should not be done. That something looks impossible does not mean that it should not be attempted. I am convinced that uniting us is the way to bring us out of this mess, and I will commit myself to doing that, and I'm doing that. Show us how you can help us, and we'll be happy to have you on. Thank you, and God bless you. I will be done for this week now, and I will see you next week. I'm getting used to this lovely stream. You know, I'm getting used to this. It's a good time to be discovering this. You'll be seeing me, perhaps maybe even more often now. Without the stress of breaking network and everything. You see me, I'm done with my message and I don't want to get up. I too enjoy the sound of my own voice. All right, everybody. Enjoy your week. God bless.
If you have CalFresh, Medi-Cal,
electronic translation of results. In particular, because we have invested so much money, billions and billions of naira, in acquiring this technology. And there's so much money in acquiring this technology, and we know we're not going to use it, or we'll use it in the bridge. Why did we? But the question is that what exactly is the National Assembly afraid of? Why are they not, bold enough to insist that it must be mandatory electronic transmission, not phone transfer, transmission of election at collation centers to the IRF? Why? What are they afraid of? Like, what exactly are the members of the National Assembly afraid?
Hello, everyone. Greetings to you all. I'm just going to take a few tweets from here. So the poll, I see there's kind of like a tie. Should PO dump ADC? 48% says yes, 52% says no. Okay, here's why I put up this poll. So I was scrolling through from the last election that was held yesterday, and one thing stood out, and which everybody else picked up on. The coalition is looking like a sham and is looking like a trap for Peter Obi right now. As you were all aware, during this AMAC chairmanship campaign, Peter Obi was the single person campaigning viciously, vigorously for Dr. Mo. All right? Every other aide, we didn't see any other ADC person. As the days drew nearer, we saw El Rufai like in one day, and then Atiku showed up one day, Amechi showed up maybe 1 or 2 days, I don't know, in the marketplace. Now, what happened as the votes were coming out, a lot of the PDP people, PDP and APC, when people say they are the same, it was very evident. PDP people were already calling and saying, oh, APC candidate has already won. And then people started pushing ethnic bigotry. All of a sudden, they realized Dr. Mo is not from Abuja, he's not from the villages, he's not from Gbagi, he's not whatever. So nobody should vote for him. Why should he be an AMAC chairman and choose another person as secretary? This was the narrative they were pushing. Long before now, there was no such thing. These are the same people who were begging then. Oh, Biden should please work. Let us work together. This is the only way. It is looking like, at least for me, from someone who's been observing the tweets, everything that's been coming out, like ADC is set up as a trap for PO. Yeah. That is what some people who have been paid by Tinubu are in ADC. You need to hear some of the takes that these PDP people were pushing. All of a sudden, they realized that Dr. Mo is not from Abuja. Is from Abuja? Is Wike from Abuja? See, this evil amongst Nigerians, this evil that you do to yourselves, it will come and meet each and every one of you involved in this evil. It's inevitable. None of us is going to be here forever. All of a sudden, you realize because the man clearly won that AMA chairmanship, the numbers are there to show it. All of a sudden, they started doing magic and changing the numbers. They started changing the numbers. Me, I've said I'm not going to be shouting for Nigeria matter again. It is people who are ready to match fire for fire that me, I'm supporting. I'm observing to see who has the real action behind them, because clearly, election is not going to save Nigeria. And if even PO moves out of ADC, for instance, takes people's advice that are calling for it right now and decides to go to LP, he must be ready to match energy for energy. Without that, forget it. Like Dele Farotimi said, Nigeria is an open prison. Me, I've said it before. Anybody and every animal in the jungle, they're just coming and taking, pillaging and taking whatever they want to take. Just yesterday here, 50 people like that, just by no noise, nothing. It'd be like normal thing. I can never accept that as normality in my own mind. Never. A life is too many to just go like that. No talk of 50. As they break now, I'm sure before you look now, if I say make I scroll now, some people have lost their lives. All the PDP supporters, Atiku supporters were busy using ethnic and tribal bigotry, throwing it around. I'm going to read some comments here. This is from Henry Shield. Elections cannot save Nigeria from APC. This is one of the PDP people. The LP wing of the ADC personalized and oversaw the entire election process. Meanwhile, these are people that claim that, oh, as ADC, everybody should be working together. Atiku came out one day, El-Rufai came out one day. You understand what I'm saying? And this is what we got. I heard the guy even lost his polling unit. Staggering. Can you imagine? These are PDP, these are Atiku people. Okay? Now, the response was from Jack the Builder. See people where they do coalition with. God have mercy. It is well. See, why is it that only the obedience are on ground? If you remember the videos I was showing you, was only obedience that were on ground. Even the collation center was made up of obedience. There were no ADC people. Even the agents that were on ground were mostly obedience. There were hardly any ADC people. Do you understand? Supporting, why is it that only obedience and ground supporting the ADC candidate for AMAC? Obedience did not go to sleep on time. They were up monitoring. Obi supporters. Now, let me see. This one says, it's disappointing to see some people who believed we were in this coalition working against us. They were doing that exactly yesterday. You need to have seen and read some of their comments. There is no justification for anyone in ADC to keep undermining and belittling the obedient movement and our efforts. This internal sabotage is unacceptable. If we truly want progress, we must respect one another and stay focused on the bigger goal. And then this guy, Chief Som, says, obedience, you people are funny. Entered coalition with snakes and vampires expecting roses. Don't worry. The real crying begins when Atiku gets the ticket and Obi has to start running around looking for a new party 5 months to election. Tech Bro said, all talk, no structure. ADC has no polling units, agents at the coalition center. Only obedience were in the coalition centers. Shame on all. If you cannot properly coordinate a small election, what exactly are you preparing for in 2027? Now, Ibrahim Abdul Karim, he says this coalition, meanwhile, this guy that is talking is right hand of Peter Obi. He's everywhere with Peter Obi. He said, this coalition is fake. I did not resign from Labour Party. We still in Labour Party and create a good structure with like-minded people rather than waste my time with a coalition of fake people. A lot of fake people emerged. In this party, they exposed a lot. This election exposed a lot. A whole party gave up their party candidates just to prove a point to Mr. Peter Obi. So they just abandoned Peter Obi with Dr. Mo and all the Obi and say, no, can I go do am now? No, this is not politics. It's madness. A coalition that cannot zone its ticket to the south to help heal the country and forge to confront APC and its rigging system. Saving a country cannot be done with unserious people. The guy, this Ibrahim, now right hand, like here, everywhere Peter Obi there, you must see Ibrahim. For him to come out and say this, you know. This guy, Jacob, says, Atiku and his support base are selfish. They destroyed PDP and they are destroying ADC. Atiku's endless ambition has become a clog. Coalition of moles. ADC not zoning presidential ticket is the first biggest sign of dishonesty. Okay? Now, ADC News says, ADC national chairman and spokesperson are not interested in this FCT election. They see it as obedient movement election. You know here? The national chairman and Bolaji, they are not interested in the FCT election. They see them as Obi movement. So they abandon all the work. With even that, it was clear that Peter Obi, obedient people won that AMAC chairmanship. Even with the rigging. This one says, Obioma says, still, Peter Obi says he's not doing again. We'll keep fighting. It's now evident that some people genuinely do not want to see this country develop, but prefer their selfish interest. Baba, stay strong and keep the hope alive because we are standing for a just cause. This was in response to Ibrahim. Okay? Then the CEO says, I have been staring at this for almost 30 minutes and still can't find a response that truly fits. All I'll say is this. Tell Mr. Peter Obi to do what he did in 2020 again. But this time he should spend his money, plenty of it, putting solid measures in place to defend his votes. Jonathan Johnson says the coalition is a serious trap for PO. He should gradually go back to Labour Party. Ikechukwu Ben says the ADC coalition is already looking like a fake coalition. Why can't the so-called coalition zone the presidential flag bearer to the south just like APC has done? Atiku and his boys did this in 2023 election and here we are again today trying to repeat the same mistake. Donaza says all the data boys are telling me we thought you were objective just because I called out your party's fraud. Objective what? I'll get to Donaza's comment in a minute. Your meaning of objective is to keep quiet while you're committing fraud. Children of light. There are many reasons Atiku camp is not a camp to mingle with. Peter Obi should think well for this ADC coalition matter. Minds are not clean in the coalition. We will listen to the video.
You don't bust up. Now I see the reason why Obasanjo openly writes letter to support Peter Obi. Now I see the reason why I don't support Vice when he was the president, which is the PDP presidential candidate. Watch this video. May you see the witty Obasanjo Vice said that time when he was vice president. The guy sell almost the country. As what he made, the guy will sell my daughter John. Watch the video.
Well, in fact, one of the mistakes I made was picking the number 2 when I was going to become president.
This is Aluminium Smelting Company of Nigeria, which was set up with $3.2 billion but was sold for just $130 million. Similarly, this is Delta Steel, which was set up in 2005 at a cost of $1.5 billion but was sold for $30 million. And also, this is Eleme Petrochemical, which was built at a cost of $2.4 billion but was sold to Indorama Corporation at just $215 million. All these and many more were sold for just a peanut fee between 1999 to 2007 under the supervision of this man, Atiku Abubakar. Welcome to Today's Africa, and in this video, we will talk about this in detail. Please do make sure you subscribe to our channel and stay with us till the end of the video to understand this fraud in details.
During the first tenure of Olusegun Obasanjo, he created a kind of a council called National Council on Privatization. So Obasanjo entrusted Atiku with that position to oversee the privatization of national assets, to make them more functional, because most of these assets were built by the military government. What happened? In that council that Atiku presided over, we have what they call ASCOM. ASCOM, located in Akwa Ibom, I think Ikot Basi, was in Africa, in aluminium smelting. It cost federal government $3.5 billion to set up that ASCOM. But what did Atiku do with it? Sold it for $130 million.
Yes, you know who they are. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo and his vice, Atiku Abubakar. Between 1999 to 2007, Olusegun Obasanjo and Atiku Abubakar were the president and the vice president of Nigeria, respectively. Between these years, the two men were members of the same political party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP. However, their relationship went sour over time, and the two men ultimately fell out with each other.
With what I know about Atiku, which you can read in my book.
Okay, read the book. Are you a member of his family?
With what I know about Atiku, if I have put Atiku forward, God will not have forgiven me.
Okay. Listen.
In 2007, Atiku Abubakar ran against Obasanjo's PDP in the presidential election, but failed woefully. After losing the elections, Atiku Abubakar left the PDP, and since then, their relationship can be likened to that of a cat and dog. But they were good friends and worked together as president and vice president to a supposed better Nigeria. During their tenure between 1999 to 2007, privatization of government properties became the cash cow for them. And just in case you don't know what this privatization means, this is an act of auctioning government-owned businesses and companies to individuals and companies to the highest bidder. And the man who brought these plans to Obasanjo is Atiku Abubakar. And with
I'm telling you, Michael, it's very annoying. These people are the ones that are the cause of the problems we have in Nigeria today. None of them, none of their hands.
To say that Atiku Abubakar dug Nigeria's economic grave for today's extreme poverty and unemployment. Atiku Abubakar oversaw the sale of over 145 assets and companies belonging to the federal government. But here is a few that you may still remember or know. They include the Nigerian Air Force College of Nursing, NAFCON, which was sold in 2005 to James Ibori, the notorious former governor of Delta State, even though he denies it. Eleme Petrochemical, which was built at the cost of $2.4 billion, was sold to Indorama Corporation at the cost of just $215 million. Daily Times newspaper, sold in 2004, Ugeli Power, Ebin Power, Nikon Insurance, Housecon.
Never. He will always exclude himself. I'm like,
Sunti Sugar Limited, Netcom House, MM2 Airport, Ikeja, anymore. To understand how fraudulent these transactions were, the Aluminium Smelting Company of Nigeria, Housecon, which was set up for $3.2 billion, was sold to a Russian firm, Rusal, for a paltry of $130 million. Similarly, Delta Steel, which was set up in 2005 at a cost of $1.5 billion, was sold to Global Infrastructure for just $30 million. Also, Eleme Petrochemical, which was built at the cost of $2.4 billion, was sold to Indorama Corporation at just $250 million. And not to mention about some of these companies and assets which he withheld or sold to himself, which the money is probably lying somewhere in UK or maybe in his thousands of houses in Dubai. So, in Articulated Business Theory 101, sell to yourself government assets and leave millions in poverty to set up and acquire personal businesses that provide for a few and become a messiah of poverty. And just in case you are filming already, Atiku didn't employ the few hundreds he employed because he likes them or because he wants to provide employment. He just needs them to work and preserve what he took from the government. So, enough of debate of him employing thousands of people. A man who brought the idea and supervised the sale of over 145 federal investments as a vice president without a thought for today wants to be your president. He did not resuscitate them after buying them. He sold them to whoever agrees to his personal terms. All this happened in the 8 disastrous locust years of Obasanjo and Atiku. Recession didn't just happen, they plundered us into recession. And he has recently proposed to do the same if he becomes the president in 2023. No wonder he has been running to become a president.
For instance, one of the mistakes I made was picking a number 2 when I was going to become president. But because it is a genuine mistake, God saved me out of it.
Hands.
You ask a good question.
We'll be here all night, yeah.
No, he asked a good question, but he spoiled it again. I said, why not Atiku? What issue do you have with him?
That was Zainab Osman, yeah, okay.
Zainab,
yeah.
I have no personal issue with Atiku. But if I then, with what I know about Atiku, which you can read in my book.
Okay, read the book. Are you a member of his family?
With what I know about Atiku, if I have put Atiku forward, God will not have forgiven me.
Okay.
Listen. Mr. Nat, welcome. Oh. Yeah, well, now we're seeing it. Peter Obi, they have said that he did not leave na coalition he do, no be join, he joined them. So apparently those are not the comments I want to read. Do you guys read here about this story about President Tinubu allegedly caught in a relationship scandal as the lady involved who has since been detained for over 8 months cries for help? I beg, I'm not interested. I better go sit down. Now, this Fosse, I don't understand. Anyway, you see, this is what I was trying to talk about yesterday. APC people, all their people were on ground in Abuja yesterday, monitoring this election. Where were the so-called ADC people? They were nowhere to be found. The only people in a collation center were Obi supporters, clearly. The only people that were in a collation center and on ground resisting the voting, right, the election fraud, were all Obi supporters. Look at APC here. Hate them all you want. Even in Edo election, it was the same thing. During Edo election, Akpabio, Sanwo-Olu, all of them, they were in Edo State until that election was completed. If you don't learn anything, you at least learn some things from APC. APC, they are together in their criminality because they know if they lose guard. This free money that they are chopping, this enslavement that they are putting you in, you people will suddenly take over from them. So guess what? They stick together. But what are you people doing? You say you are doing coalition. Meanwhile, supporters of Atiku are intentionally disparaging PO every turn, disparaging the obedience people, disparaging anyone that supports Obi, throwing subtle jabs. You are destroying it from within. You people sat out during the AMA chairmanship. You sat it out because you're like, obedient people, we take consign us. But look at them. They stayed till they called that election. Look at their own situation room. Let me read what this person said here. While I may dislike the APC so much, it is evident that they approach elections with high degree of seriousness, recognizing their critical importance. Yes, during yesterday's local government and council elections, their party's national chairman, governors, they were present in their situation room in Abuja, anticipating potential scenarios that might necessitate their intervention. This demonstrates a clear understanding of leadership and its associated responsibilities. Conversely, where was the ADC's national chairman? Where was Bolaji, the secretary, and other prominent figures on this crucial night? They were conspicuously absent, seemingly engaging in a form of big man politics and leaving the candidate Dr. Mo with Tanko only to themselves. The current operational framework in INEC does not require a complacent approach, assuming that the institution will function autonomously as intended. A critical insight for the opposition. I said this before. It doesn't make any sense. You guys cannot be playing. You are playing with fire. You guys are dealing with demons. You want to be dancing and skirting around the issues. It doesn't work like that. These people don't care about you. Nigeria is an open prison. I said it before and I'm saying it again. It's an open prison and it's only going to get worse. Peter Obi should pull out immediately and go back to LP. Since you never made a pull out, this chairmanship local government election, Dr. Mo won it. We saw the results before they started changing it. So that tells you one thing, Peter Obi, but now he needs to be more strategic. If election is going to hold, if the revolution does not come before then. But if you ask me, I don't see any revolution because guess what? The people in Nigeria have been, there's something in the water that's making Nigerians consistently docile. And nobody can tell me otherwise. There's something in the food. I showed you videos of chemtrails in Nigeria. You don't know what kind of chemicals they're spraying in the air to keep the people very, very complacent like sheep. So that anything is happening, they cannot move. I don't recognize these Nigerians that are in Nigeria. It's almost like they swapped them. The Nigerians I know, naturally, if you push them small, they go react. These ones, I don't know. Anyway, let me continue with the comments. The gang up against PO, this is Don Ruffo. The gang up against PO and obedience is humongous, especially in the ADC. What happened yesterday is just a tip of the iceberg to the kind of betrayal they plan for us in 2027. That thing has been proved right. When people were shouting here, why is that? Has it not been proved right now? Ahmed Dati was saying it. They never proven right now. When people were running with narratives about Ahmed Dati, I said that man knows what he's doing. I don't care. Even if he comes out and says he's running as president in the LP, I support him. Where has it not proven? Has it not been proven right now? He was saying it. ADC is hugely populated by APC moles and apologists. We saw it play out. They were calling the results for APC ahead of Mo. All of a sudden, they realize that Dr. Mo is from Middle Belt. All of a sudden, they recognize that Dr. Mo is Christian. His secretary is Christian. When did that start to have any effect in our local election? They don't carry on. They don't carry and reach there. You see some of these Yari bastards. In Twitter, they were tweeting. Meanwhile, Wike is FCT minister. Is he from FCT? If we're going to go by that. The truth is that if ADC is not ready to destroy and more, everyone should go home. My principal, Peter Obi, this is for you also. If you are not ready to fight APC, forget about giving desperate youths false hope. Forget presidency and focus on charity tours. God will continue to bless you. As for Atiku, I can confidently and comfortably tell you, anyway I see you, that you are working for APC, and I also want to tell you that Tinubu will not hand over power to you. After 2031, take this to the bank. This is for Nigerians. APC has 80% of Nigerian billionaires in his pocket. To win election requires funding, and APC has every criminal tools needed to win election. For you to win APC in election, just know APC just allow you to take that one. That's after behind agreement is done. To remove APC from power, it requires revolution that will send Nigerian politicians, Nigerian religious leaders, billionaires running away. Hey. Siam, this is the initial comment by Ibrahim. Okay.
Take place for Abuja today. One thing is, so from following the chairmanship election where they take place for Abuja today, one thing is clear. I don't talk am before and I'm repeating it again. The current INEC chairman, Professor Joash Amupiton, was only appointed because the devil was unavailable. This current chairman of INEC, Joash Amupiton, will be 101 times worse than Mahmoud Yakubu. It is up to Nigerians to wake up, rise up, and make the issues of elections a national crisis, and insist that you must have free and fair elections. Because as it is today, INEC is the weapon fashioned against Nigeria. That weapon is being maintained and serviced by the current ruling All Progressives affliction in collaboration with other stakeholders. Waiting they go on be say, the kind of elections that INEC is ready to conduct, it is so that at the end, even without an election, they can coronate Tinubu as the president in 2027, even without an election. Nobody should be confused. Everything where they go on with this bill, where they hurry to go sign, where Tinubu hurry sign, so was a script written from the presidency for Akpabio. Akpabio is just one of the lead actors. In fact, the real Senate president, there for presidential villa. So most of all what you are seeing today, it is up to Nigerians to wake up and say, enough of the shenanigans. If you look at the elections where go on, for 2026 Nigeria today, they carry sensitive materials on top of Okada. After INEC don't receive more than how many billion for election? Now the same way when we say by 2027, they go say now Oluwamo, now NURTW, now them they supply this, now them they carry sensitive material. At the end, it will be worse than 2023. The same way when some people go some polling units, people were supposed to day here, their name no data polling units. Beavers, they go say the thing no work. This one, they go say the thing no work. Do not be confused. Everything is not a mistake. It is a deliberate plan. It is an orchestration to increase voter apathy. That is why today for the Abuja election, you fit use your finger count people will come out. Because a lot of people not believe say the thing will count, so there is no need wasting time. Although more people go come out during presidential and Senate elections, but we must ensure and make people know that what they will come out to do, their vote will count. If not, what thing will happen, they say the lesser people wait there, the easier it is for them to rig, vote buying, use police, carry ballot paper. Before you know, fake paper go there, original one go there. The next one, when we not go observe, we say, this same thing when Wike they do, they work out from polling unit. Somebody will be FCT minister. They move from polling unit to polling unit as if na INEC ad hoc staff. The Ori Buruku where they do so, it is the same thing where all the governors where they prefer go stand on the mandate which they shall collapse. Now the same thing they could do. Them and those will be their foot soldiers. And that is why they insist, say, let there be manual collation. Because they know that now that collation center be the shrine of election rigging. So that the governors, when they for the mandate, where they go collapse, they can move during 2027 elections. They can go and begin to mutilate from EC8A form. Before you know, the same thing will happen for Obiakon. Now that Obiakon pattern they will give Nigerians. So it is up to Nigerians for us to decide what we want to take and what we can agree on as elections. Because as it is under this government, make nobody get confused. There is no decision or there is no commitment to doing anything free and fair election. In fact, the more rigged and malpractice waiting for the election, the better for them. It is up to Nigerians to make sure that we make the work of INEC become one of the most dangerous jobs in Nigeria. Anybody working in INEC must know that their loyalty must be to country. So the mobilization when we go do now, because that act, that electoral reform bill, they must amend it to ensure that electronic transmission real time is mandatory. So we must mobilize nationwide, not only for National Assembly and Presidency, but we must also take the pressure to INEC. INEC staff must be put on notice to know, say 2027, there will be no shenanigans tolerated. The names and phone numbers and addresses of every person working in INEC, including resident electoral commissioners, state rec, and everybody should be made public so that Nigerians will know where their problem won't start and to know whether these people, they want to cooperate with the criminals in power or they want to work for the Nigerian people. Nigerians, the long and short, we say, this thing whether they do so is a testing ground. This is a litmus test for APC. They are testing the criminality where they go unleash in 2027. We have enough time because the news we say, the majority of Nigerians want a better country and they know that this government is failed, incompetent, and incapacitated. They know that they are unpopular. That is why they put up all these shenanigans. My country people, shine your eye. Shine your eye. We'll go come back and talk more about the election. I just say make I give you the update. From waiting they go on and waiting they see on ground today, INEC is not ready to conduct election free and fair for the people. It is up to the people to put pressure and insist that they must do the right thing. Because Joash Amupiton has not proven to be independent. He will be worse than Mahmoud Yakubu. Must make sure that people who are there know that the power of the people is greater than the criminals in power. God bless Nigeria. My name is Peter for Nigeria.
I want us to listen to this video.
So, I woke up this morning.
Guys, please help me to take the likes up. Oh, the likes are low. Double tap your screen device or click on the three dots. If you've already liked, thank you very
I
much.
would want you to watch the video. When we get back, I go talk about the video. Please watch.
Obi is copy. And that's because he lacks strategy. I don't like talking about politics and I'm not very vast in politics like that. But this particular one, I will talk. If you know that your heart is so pure and you are a child of God, don't go into politics. Politics is not for the faint-hearted. Politics is not for when you edition is brought and you'll be thinking, you have to hit the nail on the head. That's why Tinubu will always be ahead. All my years on earth, Tinubu is one, I don't know how to classify him, but he's a very good politician. He's a bad man. I don't like I'm suffering. But it does not change the fact that that man plays politics the way it has to be played. She said something. She said that if Jonathan had done what Tinubu is, Jonathan is a soft man. Same with Obi. You cannot be soft and be playing politics. Politics for strong-hearted people like us. You will make a decision. You can say, go and kill that person, and bam, your mind no go shake. Like you will sleep well at night, and you know you killed somebody.
You see, this is a young girl, mind you. This is the mindset too.
You play the politics, you take risks, and you do it as it should be done. And that's what Tinubu is doing. He plays the game very well.
In Nigeria.
You don't watch the video, right?
Wicked mindset, Michael. I'm telling you. Sometimes when during the last election, 2023, this is why I kept saying the way Nigerians were pushing and they were so okay supporting Tinubu that time, coming up to this to defend the nonsense the evil, the mindlessness, the soul, the lack of soul in everything that he was doing, a part of me secretly was saying, let Tinubu just be president for maybe like one day. Make he really show Nigerians what they're capable of. That was my secret. I'm telling you. When Tinubu eventually got in, I wasn't surprised. I was like, perhaps even the creator himself knew that the Nigerians need to learn imagine this young girl. Imagine the mindset. This is the mindset, and I'm not to blame her. It is a society that has created human beings like this, where the educational system is zero. Everybody is doing dog eat dog. What do you expect? Imagine, see am. Person go see am for street now and say, oh, look at this fine girl. Wicked heart. Is it any surprise why you see the things coming out of Nigeria? It's not a surprise. Nigerians are wicked to each other. The Nigerians that I know now, the ones that I see, wicked. That's why you see that some of these people that, some people will make comments like, let them, who was it? I forget the name of the northerner who came up and said, let them die. I don't blame them. You go, they wonder. See this one now, this one. People pay school fees for her now, may go school. No brain, nothing. Now evil and wickedness, I fully hand. Imagine say politics is for people like me. That's to say you are ready to do anything. Because everybody must be like Tinubu, who is a gangster, a criminal, a demonic entity. You want to be like him. That's the people that you are emulating. Anyway, I'm going to round up soon. See, last night numbers, people gathered in Abuja at the home of a prominent politician. You dey hear, to collect 3,000 naira with their PVC numbers. Hey God, I beg.
To prosecute those. Vote buying seems to have become a cancer, and it's thriving because from past elections there have not been any effort by INEC, ICPC, EFCC to prosecute those that were responsible. Sometimes the back carriers for those that are responsible are highly placed, so prosecution becomes a problem. And just this morning, I'm very much aware that the ICPC and EFCC deployed the operatives, to pulling units to ensure that this menace is caught and checked. For those that have been arrested, our expectation is that these fellows will be arraigned, and those that are responsible for aiding them, for providing the cash for vote buying, will also be arraigned alongside those that have been arrested. Nigerians ought to know by now that you can't mortgage your future, those of your children, for posterity, just for 5,000 naira, sometimes less than that. Last night, reliably, people gathered in the home of a prominent politician to collect 3,000 naira, with their what they call PVCs, numbers being taken. It's unfortunate. The security agencies, especially the anti-graft agencies, must wake up to their responsibility and ensure that those responsible for this cancer are brought to book.
3,000 naira for your future. Why would it not be a slave camp? Hey, God. When you have a majority, there's a lot of work to do in the grassroots. But you know what? Even with the work that they're doing, there are people who are insistent. To them, now they go chop now, I consign them. And unfortunately, there are a lot of them. Unfortunately. I beg.
People who come with policies that is killing. You are dealing with people who are looters. You are dealing with people who understand that the democracy of Nigeria is not something anybody should protect. You are dealing with people who come into government with the thinking of stealing, and nothing happens. So how do you compare that? You must fight them. How do you fight them? Use the Constitution, use the Electoral Act.
that gives you the opportunity to be a voter. We created this Vote Must Count international initiative. We call it the VMCII since 2010. And we have been doing everything to educate Nigerians on what we have to do as citizens. The citizenry of Nigeria is even worse compared to the leadership.
I'm telling you.
Those who are leading you in
I
this
am
country,
telling you,
all
I'm
together,
seeing it
them,
every
their
day.
wives, their brothers, their sisters, their girlfriends in all the hotels in Abuja, they are not up to 5,000 people. But you, 250 million useless citizens who cannot come together to decide that their country must change. Look at AMAC. AMAC has almost more than 300,000 votes. How many people came out yesterday to vote? After I left your studio yesterday, I was driving around and in AMAC, empty polling units. And the coppers and the police are just sitting down doing nothing. You are giving the ruling party the opportunity to continue to rule. You are giving people like Nyesom Wike the opportunity to vote for you. You know the capacity of Nyesom Wike. You know the capacity of the FCT minister. You know how he became minister. You know what he did in Rivers. You gave him all the chance to rig you out. That is what we are talking about. We have this evidence that votes were bought. We have the evidence that people were stopped from coming out to vote. Because if you follow the history of the politics of the FCT, you understand that people register to vote in their places of work. And this is the first time Nigerians are.
Mr. Nat, you say, why is everybody complaining? I'm not complaining. I'm just bringing the facts here so everybody can see. I know what I said prior to this election. So it's not about everybody complaining. You know Nigerians. Complaining and Nigerians now 5 and 6. I am standing on, if there's going to be an election, it's good that all these things are playing out so that people will know what to do. Even the opposition head will know what to do. We are seeing that ADC is a complete sham. Me, I was standing on one leg with ADC. It's because Peter Obi was there that me, I was standing on one leg. Now that they've played their hand, I'm watching to see what's going to happen. I have come here to say it's Nigerians that need to come out en masse and drive these people out. If Nigerians are not prepared to do it, what do you want me to do? I will only come here. Do you understand? I understand you're not referring to me. Me, I'm also making a generalized statement, you know, just for people who are in their heads thinking that and listening as well, right? I know this is a general comment. It's not even, my response is not even directed at you directly, to be quite honest. You should understand, right? So for me, I've often said, Nigerians, it's time for action. Everybody fall out. But if they're not ready to do it with everything that's up against them, waiting I won't do. What I can do is what I'm doing from here, from the comfort of my house. This is what I am doing, and this is what I can do. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Not only am I doing that, there are stuff I'm doing behind the scenes, right? But Nigerians who live in Nigeria that are most affected, if they are not, okay, imagine now collecting 3,000. Do you understand? Exactly. Nigerian critical mass. Now we they talk to. Imagine collecting 3,000 and selling out the future of generations. It makes no. How many? And let me tell you, it's not like there has not been grassroots mobilization. It's not like there haven't been education at the grassroots, because I know, because I've even contributed to people doing grassroots to educate the people about the importance of their votes. But the people that still want to sell their votes will still sell because they are deaf, dumb, and blind. Look at what we are just hearing now, right? We're just hearing that people went to queue in a politician's house to collect measly 5,000. How much before? What will 5,000 give you? What will 5,000 give you? These are the issues. Look at it. See terrorists. See them videoing themselves doing choreography. Parading villages on bikes and demanding ransom. See am? See, this one make I can't even. I need to hide this video. Now, woman where they buy, now they carry for hand now in the Ido local government area of Oyo State. This just happened. She was attacked and killed by armed terrorists.
Morning, 24 hours.
This is the last video. I call it a day. I beg.
Up till this morning, 24 hours after, INEC has not complete. INEC is still yet to complete the result of that 6 local government. When we were out protesting that they should make it mandatory to give us a real result, many were saying, they have too much. This one, they get a CB, only bullshit. This man, where they buy at the backyard of a farm, get a CB. We know wise. Now people hijacked the power. 774 local governments in Nigeria. Abuja is only 6 out of the 774. And the results are not out yet. Now imagine when they do that 774, the whole country election. There was Abuja get network. So how come the results on IRFs are still not there? Are they still waiting for network? If you live in Abuja, is that network in your area? How come up till now they are still looking to post the results on IRF? So you can see as they go backwards, during good luck, by 3 p.m., 4 p.m., you don't know Abuja results. But now, 24 hours, just 6 local governments, they are still in collation center. So you see the meaning of that, our protest. You see why we are asking for real-time results. So you see what we are saying? So you are expecting free, fair, and credible election in 2027, you will be deceiving yourself. This is not possible. If 6 local governments out of 774 are struggling, that means there is no hope. Look at how long it took them to post Karu, Bagalada, Gary.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Mr. Nat, you said it all. Oh. If this was the attitude of Nigerians during IBB, Abacha would have remained in office. I'm telling you, for life. If today Tinubu wants third term, he will get it. What's going to stop him? Who will stop him? Who will stop him? As vicious and as brutal as the military regimes were, people were coming up, putting their lives on the line. I don't understand though. This generation of Nigerians they are worse than the leaders. I'm just putting it out here. Worse. This generation of Nigerians, they are worse. As long as they get money for their pocket, that's all they care about. Content creating on rubbish and nonsense. I'm telling you. Meanwhile, look at what happened in Kenya. When Kenya was rejecting the bill that was signed by their president, guess what? All the generation, all this young generation 18 and above, their content switched. They started educating their fellow citizens about what was in that bill and why they should reject it. All the dancing stopped, everything, all the comedy things stopped. Even though they were going to do comedy, it was in line with what was in the bill that they were trying to reject. Nigerians know, as far as say that they chop for but they chop for belle, if they benefit them, everybody, all of them go they talk. All of them know they talk, they go keep quiet. Look at all your celebrities. How many of them are coming out to speak for you? But let them make a movie. They will all come out, they'll come and be dancing stupid dance and tell you to come and watch their movies. Meanwhile, you cannot go home. You don't even have lights. You can't even step out of, you are terrorized everywhere you go. How many of your celebrities think, oh, you know what? My fans, so they are suffering too much. Let me even create some sort of welfare for them and be giving them food. No. Nigerians will follow them blindly, whatever it is that they are doing. Meanwhile, after they don't watch their shows finish, they will go back home, no light, no food, nothing. Sleep on empty stomach. I'm sorry to say, this generation, I don't know, because me protest for school that time. I didn't even know the full extent of protesting, but we were made to protest. We're on the ground. I mean, come on. I don't take cane from soldier for my leg before. They don't flog me. On top of protests for university, please. What are we saying? I don't understand. I have said it. There's something in the water. There's something in the food. Also, the parents have failed in their duties in raising children that understand the value of what it means to live an upright life with integrity. A lot of Nigerian parents have failed. Yes. With everything that I'm seeing that's playing out, I really worry for this next generation until we get a leader right in the country that will reset everybody's head. Omo, I don't see any, it will get worse from here. When Tinubu is done, he'll bring his son in. And it is anybody he chooses. Did you guys see the video of people praising Tinubu and raising their hand up in the air like he's a god? If Tinubu wants 20 years, he will get it. Ain't nothing nobody can do. They didn't take that money because they needed it. They took it because in their head, they are scamming their politicians. Yes, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's crazy, I'm telling you people. It's crazy. What I'm saying about Nigeria, it's crazy. It's so annoying. I'm telling you. Very annoying. With all of this that is happening, but yet we cannot keep quiet. Silence is for the grave. As long as you are alive, you have to keep speaking up. My people, let me leave it here. Now do well. Thank you so much for joining me. For those that voted, 56%. Okay, awesome. So we'll see how it plays out. All right, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, Mr. Nat. Thank you. Maggie, thank you. Michael, Kola, everyone, thank you. Bye.